So we're going to start off reviewing place value. And I made my chart too big. You really just need 9 of these little squares. And we put our decimal here. That's where you say or read the word and. Your first place in front of the decimal is your ones place. The second one in front of the decimal is tens. Then you have hundreds. Then you have thousands. And then as you get older, and you start working with numbers more complex than whole numbers, we started using values after the decimal, which is important to know because money will take you after the decimal, okay? So anybody remember what that first place after the decimal's called, Hannah?
It is called tenths.
It's tenths. That's right. TENTHS. Way different than tens. You know, if you've got $10, you can go buy something with that. I can go to Chick-fil-A and get I think I can get a salad. If I can't get a salad, I can at least get a sandwich. But tenths is after the decimal. We're talking like a tenth of a dollar is 10 cents. And I'm sure there's something I can buy for 10 cents, but it won't be much, will it? I won't be going to Chick-fil-A.
A water.
A water, that's it. And what about the second place, Davis? What's that second place after the decimal?
Hundredths.
It is hundredths. THS. And John, what about that third place after the decimal?
Thousands.
Thousandths. And I mean, we're talking incredibly tiny numbers now. And then your fourth place after the decimal,
10,000.
it is the 10,000ths place. So later on this week, maybe Wednesday, okay, today's Monday, we're reviewing the place value chart. On Wednesday, you're going to have a quiz. I'm just going to give you a blank chart with a decimal there, and you're going to need to write in these 9 things, okay? So let me write that down here. Quiz Wednesday on this place value chart. It's actually going to be the 3rd time you've had this quiz. We did it twice in the 2nd quarter, and we're going to do this again just to help you remember. And so today we're going to talk about rounding and the rules that will help you with rounding. Okay? Rounding. So here's what you need to remember. 5 or bigger rounds up to the next biggest number. 4 or less stays the same. Here are your 2 rounding rules. And we're going to get more specific than that, but these are the 2 things you need to remember. 5 or bigger. That means 5 or 6 or 7 or 8 or 9. 5 or bigger rounds up. 4 or less stays the same. 4 and the number smaller than 4. 4, 3, 2, 1, and 0. I mean, you stay the same. Okay? So for our first set of numbers, round, here's your instructions. Write this off. Round to the hundreds place. Round to the hundreds place.
Hundreds.
Hundreds. Notice I didn't say THS. We're going to start with some rounding before the decimal and then continue with some rounding that'll take you after the decimal. And I'm going to do 3 with you. And then I'm going to get you to do 3 on your own as practice. So the instructions are round to the hundreds place. And number 1, right now I just want you to write the numbers with me, and then we'll start rounding off. So for number 1, we're going to have the number 728. Number 2, 1,571. Number 3, 1,093. Number 4, 567. Number 5, 1,234. Number 6, 5,012. Okay, so right now I just want you to have these 6 numbers written down. I'm going to do the first 3 with you, and then I want you to try 4, 5, and 6 on your own. So you look down at your paper and make sure you have the correct numbers written down. Number 1 should be 728. Number 2 is 1,571. Number 3, you should have the numbers 1093. That's 1,093. Number 4 is 567. Number 5, 1,234. And number 6, 5,012. 5012. Now, these instructions are going to sound familiar to you because you've heard them so many times before. We're rounding to the hundreds place. So in this first one, I'm going to underline the number in the hundreds place. Davis, which digit is in the hundreds place?
7.
I'm going to underline the 7, but you know what? That's not the number I'm going to look at to tell me how to round. I'm going to look behind it at the 2. The 2 is going to tell me what to do about the 7. The 2 is going to tell me I either leave that 7 alone or I round it up to the next number, okay? And that's where these 2 rules come in handy. 5 or bigger rounds up to the next number. 4 or less stays the same, okay? So I'm underlining the 7 because my final answer has to have a number in that third place in the hundreds place. But my question is, does it stay a 7 or bump up to an 8? And the 2 is what tells you to do there. So Addie, what is that 2 telling us to do to the 7?
The same, yeah.
No, here are your 2 rules right here. 5 or bigger rounds up, 4 or less stays the same. Do we have a number 5 or bigger, or do we have a number 4 or less?
Number 1 is 4 or less.
So what does that rule say? If it's 4 or less, what do?
It stays the same.
Stays the same. So your 7 is going to stay the same, and everything else changes to a 0. So when we round off 728 to the hundreds place, it rounds off to 700. Number 2. John, what number is in the hundreds place? What number should I underline? 5 is in the hundreds place. But Addie, what number do I look at to help me figure out how I'm going to round this?
The 7.
Look at the 7. Hannah, what does that 7 tell you about the 5? Stay the same or bump up?
Bump it up.
We do bump it up. So I write down the 1 in the thousands place. 5 bumps up to a 6, and the other 2 numbers become zeros. All right, right, number 3. Addie, what digit do I underline?
A 0.
Underline the 0. That's in the hundredths place. But Davis, what number do I look at to help me figure out about rounding?
You're gonna look at that.
Look at the 9. John, what does 9 tell me? Bump it up. So the 1 in the thousands place stays the same. 0 bumps up to a 1, and the last 2 numbers become 0. Okay? So now you do the next 3 on your own.